Okay, welcome back to another awesome episode of Life on the Ave. I'm so excited to have two amazing guests with me here today. I have Peggy and Lindsay Swiderski. I got that right.
Yes, you did.
Polish education. So thank you so much for coming on Life on the Ave. We're so excited to have you, Miss Peggy. We've been trying to get for a long time, whether she knows it or not. But I'm going to jump into a quick bio on you guys, and then I'll turn it over to you. So sit back and relax. Peggy Swiderski has been teaching in the Middle Atlantic area for over 41 years, which we're going to debunk. It's been longer than 41 years. We need to update the website. She swam for the Wilmington Athletic Club and attended the University of Delaware. She has developed a unique method for teaching children how to swim and enjoy the water. Peggy is certified in CPR, first aid, lifeguarding, and in USA coaching. I'm going to do Lindsay next. Lindsay Swiderski Taggart helped to create Swim School Inc. in 2008. She swam competitively for Wilmington Aquatic Club. She, along with her sister Alicia, was a member of the state championship Padua Academy swim team in high school. She received many individual state and Middle Atlantic swimming awards. She received a swimming scholarship to the University of Pittsburgh, where she completed her bachelor's degree and master's degree in teaching. She is certified in CPR, first aid, and lifeguarding. Lindsay has been teaching for 11 years, which I imagine is longer as well. All right, so I'm going to quick get into the swim school. For those of you that don't know, both my children are students of swim school, and we absolutely love it. So I'm going to jump into their philosophy. I summarized it a little bit. So it says on your website, it's true, many children will cry when they are first introduced to swim lessons. It does take a lot of courage for them to take the first plunge. But learning to swim is important and will soon be fun. Our approach to teaching is child-centered. We are very sensitive to and understanding toward your child's new endeavor. We have many successful years of experience in handling these seemingly frightening circumstances. We're all here to help your child cope with this new situation through our patience and care. So mom and dad, relax. That's me and Vincent. If the tears start to fall, which they did for both my children and continue to, try not to worry. Your child is in the hands of a professional instructor who are compassionate and perceptive of your child's fears and tears. Crying is temporary and usually only lasts a short time. Remember, learning to swim is a necessity, not a luxury. So relax and trust that you're providing your child with the gift of learning to be safe in the water. So welcome, Peggy and Lindsay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
So my children have been going to swim lessons with you. Murphy started in June of 2022, so we're over 2 years, I guess. And it's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to turn it over to you. How did we get here? Take us back to the beginning.
Well, we started swimming, or I did, because my mom almost drowned and we had to learn to swim. So we learned to swim, and then our summer swim team, used to be Hercules Country Club, decided to swim all year round. We hired Bob Matson to be our coach, and he then built the facility down by the bridge, and it used to be called Wilmington Swim School. And they had Wilmington Aquatic Club, and we all swam on the swim team. And then he started a swim lesson program, and so I went there.
How old were you?
How old was I?
Yeah.
23 when I started teaching down there. And I've been teaching since 1967. In 2008, my daughters and I started our own swim school, Swim School Inc., and we rent facilities around the Wilmington area. And that's where we are.
Nice. All right, Lindsay, how about you?
So I swam for the University of Pittsburgh, swam for Wilmington Aquatic Club growing up.
Amazing.
For my uncle. Mm-hmm. And then when I finished my master's degree, decided to come back home, looked for teaching jobs because that's what I had, elementary education master's degree. Mm-hmm. And ended up working with my mom. It kind of combined two things that I love to do.
Yeah.
And when I started working for her, we were working for a different company.
Right.
And then we decided to go off on our own.
Nice.
And
what made you jump on your own?
I think just knowing that what we were doing, I think we could just take it to different levels on our own.
Yeah.
And kind of being in control of your own destiny.
Yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah.
And then in 2012, my nieces, who were 6 and 4 at the time, were ready to do swim team, and we couldn't go anywhere else other than
Right.
Wilmington Aquatic Club because it disbanded in 1994.
Wow.
So with my uncle's blessing, Bob Matson is my uncle, was my uncle. He let us start it up again. We had 12 kids our first year.
Wow.
That was 2012. And then now we are almost at 200 kids.
Wow.
From the ages of 5, we started in 17,
Yep.
all the way up to, we have now college kids coming back to train with
Wow.
us. Yeah.
Wow. And then lessons start, when do the lessons start?
6 weeks and up.
6 weeks old?
My kids and my grandchildren started at 6 weeks.
Wow.
And by the age of 2, they could swim 25 yards.
Wow, that's crazy. Meanwhile, my son's almost 2 and like still screams the whole lesson.
Yeah, that's all right.
He'll get there.
Yes,
get
he
there.
will.
He'll
Look
get
at
there.
Murphy.
He'll get look at Murphy. Yeah. So they have a very unique style of teaching. I don't think, maybe not unique. I don't do a lot of swim, so I wasn't a swimmer. I did swim team growing up. It was more like a social hour for us. So I never had some swim lessons growing up. So this whole thing was new to me. Kelly Hughes across the street, who's also been on the podcast, gifted Murphy with swim lessons for her first birthday. So we jumped into it when Murphy turned 1, and now I'm like a huge proponent of this.
Yes.
Like, to me, it's an absolute no-brainer to start as young as possible.
Yes.
So I didn't even know you could start at 6 weeks.
Well, I read a study when I first started teaching, and they had done a study on babies swimming. And they said the younger you start a baby, they revert to being in the womb in a fluid. So they hold their breath. Now that doesn't mean they won't cry, because they do.
Yeah.
My kids cried, my grandchildren's, all 3 of them cried, but they learn in spite of that.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So I have friends who do swim lessons with their kids, and it's mommy and me. They're in the water. So the type of swim lessons this is very short periods of time. We start out 15 minutes. It's a very short period of time, once a week, and you're one-on-one with an instructor. So for context, my kids, let's start with Murphy, for example. She probably cried for 4 months, I would say. And we were every single week, probably barely ever missed. Every single week, I would say she cried for maybe 4 months. And it was rough in the beginning. I remember I felt emotional, and I can feel some of the other moms when they have their kids crying. It can be tough, but you're very consistent and stern, and you don't mess around.
no, I'm there to teach them to swim, not to be able to play in the water.
Right.
That's the parent's job, and that's what I tell parents. I tell them that we are the work people, you're the fun people.
Right.
And it works.
It works. Yeah, so Murphy stopped crying right around 4 months, and from there on, it was all business. She knew this is 15 minutes. I'd rather get in, get out, pay attention. Let's not piss off Miss Peggy, and we'll have a better, easier experience. Now, Winslow's, we're, I think, like 8 months in with him, and
He's a little boy.
Yeah, he's obsessed with me. He's a mama's boy. He still cries, but if I'm not at the lesson,
He does better.
he does significantly better. But it's tough because I'm like, okay, I can't pay my babysitter and pay for swim lessons. I'm like, I'm gonna be like, I'm not made of money, like, because people will be like, oh, just have Riley, our babysitter, just have Riley take them, and I'm like, I can't pay for swim lessons and a babysitter. Like, come on. So I do have to go sometimes, but you know, if I could avoid it, I do try to avoid it.
We
But
call that the mommy syndrome.
yes, I am.
It totally is.
Yeah. And yeah, he can smell me. So even if I like left
Yeah.
the room, he could still smell me. He knows I'm present. So in this time period, since you started doing swim lessons, you said you were 23. How many people do you think you've
Oh my God. Ooh, I have
Thousands.
no idea. Thousands. I mean, we have how many instructors? About 5 instructors now. And we probably teach 500 kids a week.
Wow, 500 kids a week times, you know, however many years.
Yes.
She's teaching kids of kids that
Right.
she taught,
Right.
I believe.
And now I'm keep teaching
Grandkids.
one grandchild.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Yeah, and from my perspective, like if I put up, like we're very much a content social media team and company and business. So if I put up a video of Murphy in the pool, I will get 5 or 6 messages from people like, she taught me, oh my gosh, she taught my kids, she taught my kids. So it seems like you probably know more people in Delaware than anyone else.
No, I don't.
I would say you've
But
got to be up there.
I do have taught a lot of kids.
Who would you say is your most successful person that's been through the program? In swimming, specifically.
As far as swimming ability and going far in swimming, I guess it would be Rachel Bakra. Well, no, because she's now.
She was, well, no, so we had a swimmer who started with us, I believe, when she was 6 or 7.
No, I had her
Are
in
you
private
sure?
lesson, yes.
Okay, so, but she just graduated last year.
From high school?
From high school.
Okay.
She made Olympic trials last year.
Wow, it's awesome.
But came through our programs, both of
Wow.
our programs, and is now at Ohio State.
Wow.
And just did fantastic in their conference championships, and is hopefully going to be going to NCAAs in a few weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, so she, as far as success goes,
Yeah.
I would say
She's up there.
For our business.
For our
now,
business
I
right
used
now.
to work at Wilmington Swim School.
Yes, let's take it back there.
Okay, take it back there. We had, when I was working down there, like 3 Olympians,
Wow.
all kind of NCAA champions. I remember our boys team down there swam the Naval Academy, and these were high schoolers, and they beat the Naval Academy. So, I mean, we've had a lot. It's like, I didn't personally work with all of them. My uncle did, Bob Batson. I mean, he
he's
was,
not your uncle, your brother-in-law.
I mean, my brother.
It's family.
Oh. And he coached a lot of those, but I helped. And I did the swim lesson program, and then he took over with the swim team part of it.
I think you are, I mean, I don't know, your swim team side of it, and maybe, I don't know, maybe Murphy gets into that at some point. We'll see. I was not much of a swimmer. I don't think my husband was either. We were both like ball sports, I would say. So not really swimmers. So I don't know where she'll take it, but from where I'm sitting at lessons, you seem to really thrive in the lessons
Yes.
world.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think our method is part of it, and the people that we hire. And for me personally, I just love it.
Yeah.
And I like to see when a little child is scared,
Yeah.
and then when they start to swim, first they don't like me,
Right.
and then
Right. We
we're
saw
friends
Murphy.
after
Right.
that.
Murphy hated you. She would
Yeah.
cry within a minute we pulled into the parking lot.
But
Yeah.
then I watch their progress. So
Yeah.
as far as teaching, it's going from being scared to when they love the water, and that's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
And that's what we say about swim team as far as, you know, it's not something you have to do. It's there now. It's an option. But our goal for swim lessons is they're safe in the water.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Ultimately, that's the most important thing.
Right.
Yeah. I love that because you just never know. You never know. What are your guys' thoughts on like the ISR world? I have a lot of mom friends that are big on the ISR stuff.
So I would say I think
What?
What's ISR?
infant swim rescue. So that's the one
Oh,
where they
that's the one they do.
fall in their clothes and what have you. It doesn't look very comfortable to me. When I
Yeah.
watch the videos, they're very uncomfortable to watch. Like the kids don't look like they could stay there for very long.
Yeah.
I think it's teaching them a skill on falling in and getting to the side
Right.
by any means necessary.
Right.
But I don't feel that they could stay there.
Right.
If somebody didn't get right to
Yeah.
them.
I feel
don't
like-
want to talk bad.
No,
about
and I
at
think it
all.
works for a lot of people.
Mhm.
I feel like there's the mommy and me classes with the kickboards and we're just playing with
Six
water.
lines.
Then we have ISR, which is intensive every day, 6-week program, very expensive. And then I think you guys kind of fall into this like middle ground category. This is my perception. You kind of fall in this middle ground category of like, we're not here to mess around, but we're also, we're not a 6-week program that we're just going to throw you in the water and that's it. I feel like you have this very great middle ground of like, this is intense. We're taking this very seriously, but we're also not just teaching you one skill and,
Right.
So
pushing
there's
you out the door.
one other thing too, is I do think the younger they are, that quick burst of, every day,
Yeah.
so many hours, whatever they
Yeah.
do a day, it's good, but that falls off.
Yeah.
If they're young.
Right,
They
you have to do like
forget.
check-in classes. I've heard.
Correct.
Like you have to go back and
Correct.
do another check-in class, and yeah, I think for us, like this is a lifetime skill, and we just want them to swim as quick as possible. I want
Yeah.
them to be able to, feel confident in the water, and I know a lot of the new mom trends I'm seeing is like not using the puddle jumpers. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on all like the puddle jumpers and the tubes?
I
and-
don't
stand
like
them.
them.
yeah,
I'm always afraid that they're used to those,
right.
and they jump in one time without those.
Yeah, And then what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what? Happened to me as a kid. I didn't have my floaties on and I jumped, and thank God one of my sisters was in the pool and grabbed me. But yeah, it can seriously happen to anyone.
Yep.
Wow. So what was one of the biggest challenges you guys have had since 2008, right? You go out on your own. Was there a sense of like, we have to prove ourselves, we have to really get this off the ground? Like, what was it like in those beginning days?
You just do it.
Hell yeah. I love that.
I started back, well, we moved to New Jersey because we lost the pool down by the bridge. And when one of the families said, why don't you come back to Delaware? I started with one student and have grown from there.
Wow.
It's just,
And
I
that was
believe in learning to swim. I just think it's the most important thing you can do.
Yeah.
I just believe
Especially
in
on the
swimming.
East Coast, we're so close
Yes.
to water. A lot of people have pools in this area. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
not even just that though. Like I had an experience. My son is 11 now, but when he was just taking a bath on, like in the bathtub,
Yeah.
and he tipped over, and he went to go right onto his back,
Wow.
and that was probably 6 months.
Wow, young.
Yeah, so young. So it can happen
Wow.
anywhere.
Wow.
What my mom was talking about when we moved, when she came back, that was like the mid to late 90s. So from when we started in 2008, we didn't have, we had a base already.
Yeah.
We had people that we had already,
Right.
kind of started with.
Right.
So we weren't starting from scratch. But in going back to your question about what the toughest thing is pool time.
Yeah.
Pool time is the
Just booking it.
finding it.
No,
Yeah.
Finding it.
Right.
being able, because
Delaware does not have
Right. Enough pools.
enough pools.
No.
And teaching pools are different than
Right.
competitive swimming
Right.
pools.
Right.
Temperature is different, depth of the water is different, so it's definitely a struggle.
Well, thank God for Paladin Club. That's where we go.
We're lucky.
That was, we started there before, and they were gonna fill it in.
Like fill the pool in.
Fill
Yeah.
just
We're done.
1 week. They said, no, we're done, we're gonna fill it in. I said, wait a minute, I'll be the lifeguard, because you have to have a
Right.
lifeguard.
Right. Right.
And they didn't want to pay a lifeguard to sit there. I said, we'll be the lifeguards,
Right.
and that's why we're all lifeguards.
Wow.
So that's worked out really well.
Wow.
It's a nice little pool for teaching. so,
Perfect.
yes.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And it's warm.
It is. It's hot in there. It's hot in there for the parents. I have to like stop at home. I leave here. I'll stop home and
You
change
layer.
because I'm like
Yes.
I'm gonna be sweating
Yes.
my butt off in there.
But it's so nice for the kids.
So, they love it.
Yes.
Yeah, they love it. They love it. What's been one of the more rewarding sides of this? Stories, people that have come back to you and said, hey, thank God, anything like that?
I had one that she had her grandson who was taking lessons, and they went down to the beach somewhere in New Jersey. I don't go down there, but they have big gullies where the water goes out.
Sure.
And she said he ran ahead of her and he fell into one of those gullies. And he came up and got on his back. Well, she jumped in and they had to save her.
Wow.
But he was fine, and he was
Wow.
like 2.
So young.
Yes, so it's just nice to hear that, because I know our method is to teach them to get on their backs to save themselves, and that's what's important.
Yeah.
And
then-
to breathe.
And to breathe, yes.
Yeah.
Because you can float on your back forever if you're comfortable.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I don't think Winslow's there yet, but Murphy can.
Oh, yeah, Murphy.
She's a beast. What do you think of Murphy? Is she a swimmer? You think she'll be a swimmer?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. We'll say Vince,
If she
you're not-
wants to.
It's a great cross-training sport too.
Yes, that's what I've
For
heard.
all
That's what I've
yes.
heard. So, what is the swim team side of this like? If Murphy was a swimmer, is this year round? Is it 5 a.m. practices? Like, I had a friend in high school that was a big time swimmer, and it seemed like her life was hell. Like, she was.
Well, it's a commitment.
It's a huge commitment. Yeah.
Yes.
So, what does that look like?
For us, the way that we've structured our program is we're looking for the longevity in the sport. We have a lot of fast younger kids, but we are very big proponents on correct stroke technique.
Okay.
Gradually increasing time in the water. There are a lot of 8-year-olds locally that are in the water 5 days a week.
Wow.
That is not our program.
Okay.
And
I like that. I like that.
I've actually you know, people have come to try out, and when I tell them your 6-year-old's only going to be in the water 2 times a week,
Right.
and one of those times is strictly stroke work, it's they don't
like
want
it.
more. No.
Wow.
So I've had people
This generation of
turn away
parents is
from it.
nuts.
But
I know.
you know, the problem is if you have 100 kids, 1 kid out of 100, if they do it that much when they're young, will still be doing it at 16. And will they even be improving?
Right.
Because there's only so many hours a day you can practice.
Right.
So
Right. And at what point is it for the kid? Like at what point?
it's not fun.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not fun.
So are you guys like 5 a.m. practices? What is that?
For
look
our older kids.
Our older kids, our high school kids, so once they start in high school, during high school swimming season, which is November to February, our freshmen start 2 days a week in the morning. So they'll come to practice at 5:30, they'll leave at 7.
That's a huge commitment.
It is, but I do think that it's kind of like a badge of courage
Oh,
and
yeah, they
honor.
love it.
You know,
They love it.
they go to school with wet hair and you know.
Yeah.
And then sophomores, juniors, and seniors do that outside of the high school swimming season. So
Right.
September to May,
Got
they'll
it.
do 2 days a week in the morning. So it's still, we're gradually increasing our time, even when they're seniors in high school.
Wow. And when is the high school swimming season? It's winter, right?
So it's winter for high schools. So it's, again, mid-November through the end of February. So it just wrapped up last week.
Okay.
And then ours is year round. So
Right.
we have 3 seasons essentially, fall and winter, spring and summer.
Right. So are they all then swimming for their like summer teams, or are they also with you?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Sheesh.
We always recommend that they maintain their stroke work
Right,
with us
right.
in the summers.
Right.
For our 12 and unders, it's really important that they're having fun,
Right.
showcasing what they do.
Yeah.
They go to their summer teams, and that's our advertising
Right.
for lessons and
To show
for
off
swim
how good
team.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's how we get our business.
And would you say the goal of these kids at this like stage of our our world, are they all looking to swim in college? Is that the goal, or are they just they love it and they're swimming in high school?
Well, you want to talk about their goals, and you want to talk about mom and dad's goals,
Right.
especially in the competitive side of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a girl who made Pennsylvania States for 4 years, who's also a softball player. She just hung her goggles up last night, and she's playing softball in college.
Wow.
So you have all kinds of different.
Yeah.
Not everybody goes on to swim in college.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes
So
sense.
it's
I'm
it's
one of-
different tiers.
I'm one of 4 girls, and we were all pushed to play basketball in college, and quickly realized I was not Division 1 caliber. I was more of like that D2, D3 player, and I was like, I don't actually want to play. Like, I don't,
And
am
it's
I
not
doing
come
this for
from
me?
you.
Am I doing this for my parents? And then I ultimately just went and played club basketball at UD and had the most amazing time. That my husband, I would have never had that experience had I not kind of like tuned in with myself and be like, hey, who am I doing this for?
And that's a big thing.
yeah,
And
big
it's
thing.
it's younger and younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on swimming? Something I struggle with swimming. Like I never thought my kids would be swimmers. And again, like this is just my perception of seeing my friends swim in high school. To me, it seems like such an individual sport. What are your thoughts around that? Like
I love
the
it.
teamwork aspect and the individualness.
I
of
love
this.
it because I do think that the team aspect is still there.
Right.
You're with your teammates.
Right.
You're training with your teammates. It's grueling.
Yeah.
Even when you're going slow, you still have to
Right.
try.
Right.
But I also think it's like life. Life
Right.
is you're with a bunch of people, but your success depends on you.
Yeah.
The clock doesn't lie.
Yeah, it's true.
So I love the sport.
That's
I
amazing.
really think that it's
And there's relays and stuff, so you do
Yes.
And
still
that's fun.
have the team
Yes.
side.
Mhm.
And I like swimming when you get to the competitive for little kids because every single child swims in the meet they sign up for. They don't sit.
Right.
They swim, everybody. It's like you can have heats and heats and heats, but everybody swims.
Are you guys big on like participation trophies? What are your thoughts around that?
No,
Does everybody get a ribbon?
No.
no,
Nice.
no. I believe if you want that, then you have to work for that.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
love that.
believe in just giving awards.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that kind of goes in conjunction
same
with
thing.
with your the way that you teach.
Yeah, with lessons, it's
Yeah.
like we have our stamp card.
Yeah.
And when you achieve certain things, you get a stamp to go on that card.
Right.
So,
Right. And so for anyone that's trying to picture, like these lessons are maybe not as crazy as an ISR like we're kind of talking about, but very much stern. So like Murphy's very stubborn. She's our Taurus. We call her the bull. She's very, very stubborn. And we felt that she met her match when we did lessons with you. You were the first person that I was like, oh, Murphy's Murphy's getting the real taste of real life. Because she's my baby, right? She's his baby. Like, we were so kind and gentle, and you're very, very stern with her. And now in tune, like, she respects you. Like,
well, I didn't teach mine.
You didn't what?
I didn't teach
your
mine.
own kids?
Oh, no.
Oh,
I
interesting.
mean, I worked with them when they were babies.
Yes.
And I played with them in the water, but I did not teach them.
Who did you trust to teach them?
I forget. Theta. Yes, she was another instructor that we had. I taught Theta's little girl, and she taught mine.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yes.
How do you train your team members to be you? To be a teacher.
We have, well, our method, we teach them how to do our method.
Right.
And
what
what
Mr.
we
Ned's not as stern as you.
No, he is.
Nowhere
that's
near as
the
stern.
beauty
But
of
that's what's nice.
You have our program.
Because if you don't like me,
Right.
if I'm too stern, we have other instructors that aren't.
We think Winslow would do better with you. But
Yes.
I also think he benefits from like the gentleness of
Oh
Mr.
yes.
Ned.
Oh yes.
Yes.
There's two sides, and
Yes.
it's like,
Murphy needs you. Murphy would run Mr. Ned. She'd run circles around him. She'd be like, yeah, you're not going to break me. Like, she needed you. And she still does. And your little class, the three of them
oh
are the
my
best.
gosh, that's so cute.
They're the best. They're
I
like
know.
three little best friends. You should see them afterwards. They all go in the shower together and they play and they're, look at your jammies, look at my jammies. It's like the locker room talk is
Yes.
hysterical.
And that's what's nice when you do swimming lessons like that, you meet people that you would never meet.
I would never have met them otherwise.
Right.
Yeah. So cool. All right, so tell us about the event you have coming
Okay,
up.
sure. So after what we started in 2012, we finally have the number of volunteers that we need. Getting parents to volunteer is very difficult.
Oh yeah.
And volunteer for free, essentially. So we are hosting our first officially sanctioned USA Swimming Meet
Wow.
this Sunday at Claymont Elementary School.
Wow.
So that's one of the facilities that swim team rents.
Amazing.
So it's just our kids. It's an inter squad meet. Just our kids because it was kind of last minute in terms of getting everything approved. But from here, we hope to start hosting local meets where we have local teams that come.
And so who's like your competition?
Around here, there's a lot of Delaware teams. Believe it or not, Delaware's small. There are a lot of Delaware teams. There's Delaware Swim Team. There's Diamond State Aquatics, Brandywine Y, Western Y. So there's a lot of teams in a small area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And who's like number one? Who's putting out the best kids?
I mean,
You
of
guys?
course, I'm gonna say us. I mean, if you look at high
Right.
school kids, Ursuline just won
Right.
state
And
championships.
you said you have how many kids
We
in
have
there?
probably 95% of Ursuline's kids swim
Wow.
well. Yeah.
And we were talking about this before we got started. I went to Ursuline and we were not the most successful swim team when I was there. So I've seen it literally just climb over the last like 5-10 years. They've just been getting better and better. And they're a smaller team, right? Like Ursuline's a small school.
It's not a big team.
Yeah, so it doesn't take many to
Um,
win.
Now it does.
now it does.
Okay.
We won states, my sister and I.
Right.
With 3 other
Wow.
girls. With 5 girls.
Wow.
And then it changed to where
Scoring.
So you were just doing every event?
So
No,
but we were
they
just
scored differently.
we were just top in everything that we swam.
Got
so
it.
we won first, second in everything that we swam.
Got it. See, I'm new to this swim world.
Yeah.
So when I did swim team, I never got better than last place.
Oh. Well, that's fun.
I
There's
never.
only places
I was
to go.
never
But you know
not
what?
last.
That's okay as long as you do your best. That's
Yeah,
what
I
I
had a
tell
great
my
time.
kids.
That's what we say.
Doesn't matter where you come in. If you did your best, that's all you can do.
That's what I say to both Murphy and Winslow when they get
Yep.
in the water. Did you do your best? And they do gymnastics too. So I never ask them, how did you do? Did you do this? How was your somersault? How were your breathing? Whatever. Always just say, did you do your best?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of that.
Yeah.
We were briefly talking about this generation of parents. I feel like I want to bring that back. So this you said that you have people that come in and within, they're watching the lesson before and they leave. Why do you think that is?
Because it was too structured.
Yeah.
They wanted more play.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're here for. We're
Yeah.
here to teach.
Yeah.
So,
And I think it's when it's something as serious as swim lessons.
Yes.
When we're talking literal life and death.
Right.
I think this is just something, one, to invest in, because it's an investment.
Yeah.
You say in your philosophy, like, this is a necessity, not a luxury.
Right.
Which I really love that. And it's just, it's something that is serious and something that shouldn't be taken lightly.
And I know that once they learn, they'll love it. I have kids that cried when they were started, and if you ask them 3 or 4 years later, oh no, I never cried.
Yeah, that's what
And
our
they
kids
all
say.
do.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It's
They
their
will
way of
learn,
communicating.
and then they'll love it.
So if you, say I just had my first baby, maybe I'm not ready for 6 weeks like you. When do you think is like the sweet spot age to start?
Between a year and a year and a half.
Yeah.
Now, it takes longer when you start them, but they get used to it, and they find out that going underwater is not hard.
Yeah.
But if you wait, some kids, and nothing has ever happened, and they are afraid of the water. And the older they are, the harder it is.
Yeah. Right.
So-
It's teaching an old
Year
girl new
to
tricks.
a year and a half.
That's
Year and a
exciting.
half is a good.
And when Kelly told me it was time, I was like, "You're insane! Like, she's
No.
a baby.
No.
You're kidding! Like, no way!" And she would poop every class. She always got out of the water with a big poopy diaper. It was disgusting. And I had just had Winslow, so I'm carrying the carrier. I'm carrying her. I'm like, this is a mess. I think her first lesson was the week I gave birth to Winslow, so I wasn't even I don't think I was at her first lesson. So it was a lot. It was a
Yes.
big commitment.
Yes, it is.
And especially for 15 minutes, you're like, I just drove all the way here, got her out of the car, got her dressed, got her in the. It's like, holy smokes! And by the time she's in, she's already out.
But that's a lot for a
For that age,
Yes, it's a lot.
They're exhausted. Swim nights,
Right.
they go to bed
Because they don't
immediately.
sit when
Right.
they start with class. They're doing something the
From the
whole
moment they get in the
15
water.
minutes. Yes.
Yeah, it's an intensive 15
It
minutes.
totally pays off because
Yes.
in a couple years when you're at your friend's pool
Yeah,
Yes.
and
and I'm relaxing with a drink because I know they can
and
swim.
she's swimming and
Yeah.
everybody else is chasing their kids
Right,
around.
or they're all in their
It's
puddle jumpers,
totally
looking like
worth it.
losers.
Yep.
Totally worth it.
Yeah. So, do you think we stay strong? We don't have puddle jumpers. We've never put anything on them.
Well, it depends on your situation. I know when you go on a boat, you have to wear them and
Sure,
stuff.
sure.
But in a pool, I would say no. The majority of the time, that's where the parents have to get cold and get in the pool.
Yeah, you just gotta suck it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a short-term
Because
pain for a long-term
It's
gain.
just, it's a false security with those
Right.
things on.
Right.
We call
That's-
the baby pool the VIP section
Nice.
with my son.
Nice.
And there was a whole year when he was, I think, a year and a half to 2, where he was solely the baby pool. But we would go into our pool, our summer pool, a few times during the day, and he would go in there, but then go play.
Right.
But through that, they learn, and
Yeah.
it's really
Yes.
important.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah,
play.
and that's us. So we've never put them in swimmies. We've never
No,
done floaties.
good.
Nothing.
I didn't with mine.
I just swim. Like, we just get in the water. Like, it is what it is, and my hair's gonna get wet, and it is what it is. Like, and if you can't handle it, then don't go to the pool that day. Like, I don't know. For us, I've just seen so much about how negative these things can take them backwards, and I'm like, we're making the investment in swim lessons. I
Right.
hate for them to go backwards.
Right.
So I'm like, let's just suck it up, and a couple years, and it is what it
And
is.
the younger they are, you need that consistency.
Yeah,
They're not going to learn in 6 months and retain it.
yeah.
They'll forget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Anything else you want to leave us with? Anything you want the world to know? I can't wait to see what DMs I get. I have Miss Peggy.
Oh, there'll be
This is
so
cool.
many. She's so well.
Can you even go out in
known.
public? Like, do people come up to you everywhere you go?
Yeah, I've had people come up.
Yeah, you don't have to be boastful.
Yeah.
You can
A lot of times though, they don't recognize us
right.
in our
Dress.
clothes.
Right.
Yeah,
This is the
oh,
first
I
time I
had
see your
that.
clothes.
Because you'll have people come to you and say, "Oh, I don't recognize you in your clothes."
Right.
I was
And-
walking through a restaurant with my husband, and somebody said, I know that voice, but I don't recognize you with clothes on.
Yeah.
And
What is
everybody
it?
looks.
What is it like having chlorine on your? Like, is your body just so used
Oh,
to
it's
it?
nonstop.
Yeah, no, I've never had. Well, no, I guess when I was pregnant, and then after I had her, you can't go in for 6 weeks. My skin got very oily.
Weird.
So I guess it just adapts.
Do you shower after every time you get out? Like,
I rinse.
immediately? Yeah.
Yeah.
Rinse it all off. Good to know. Yeah, I've just never been like this pool girl.
Yeah.
So I'm new to this whole
Oh,
world.
get used to it.
Luckily, we have Ellie's parents. They're like the swim family.
Oh,
They're
yes.
like teaching us what to do. Like,
Yes.
you guys should probably shower them. It's much easier. Bring the jammies, do the shower here. I'm like, okay, I'm taking notes. We didn't have goggles when we started.
No,
like,
no.
they've held our hand and been like, come on, welcome to the swim world.
It's nice to have though.
Yeah.
Like, we have families like that on swim team that
Yeah.
are kind of like the mentor families.
Yeah, we have no clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've been amazing. So do you guys have social media? Where do we follow you? Or no?
For Wilmington Aquatic Club, we do.
Perfect. There we go.
And Facebook.
Perfect.
Instagram, Facebook.
I've seen the Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So we'll tag you guys on Facebook.
And Swim
Otherwise-
School, I believe we have Facebook.
Good.
I don't-
You do.
That's good.
You do.
Good.
Yeah, you do. I've seen the website. Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen the Facebook.
Yeah.
So yeah, look them up. Otherwise, their website's the best place to go. It's an intensive sign-up period. So if you're interested in lessons, their next sign-ups would be what? When would it would be for the June?
Anytime.
The summer?
No.
Well, you
actually,
can
Anytime.
sign
You
up
can do it.
anytime if there's an opening. Right
Yeah.
now, we have wait lists.
Yeah.
But in June, when school is out, we have a complete summer schedule and everybody has to re-sign.
Yep.
There
Which
you
is
go.
at midnight.
Yes.
It's intense. So you have to stay up at midnight. It opens up at midnight, and I'm like staring at the screen, refresh, because I want to get the good class
So,
of Miss Peggy.
We used to have just through the phones.
Oh, yes.
And it was
insane.
concert tickets.
That's
if you
insane.
can, I mean, like,
yeah.
for, you know,
Yeah.
I remember doing that,
Yeah,
calling
back in
the
the day.
radio station when I was younger. It's
Right,
the
busy
same for
town,
lessons.
busy town,
Yes,
busy town.
yes.
Yeah, so you do have an online system. It's great. And what I do is I just sign up for like 100 wait lists and I just wait to see which one we get off. And then I email Alicia. I'm like, sorry, Alicia, take me off the 9 other wait lists. Yeah, because it's tough. You want them to be back to back, same night.
But I also do think getting a different instructor is a good thing for kids.
Yeah, I do too.
Staying with the same person, it's nice and they're comfortable, but that's not life.
Yeah, no,
It's
true.
it's
Mix it
really
up.
smart to, you know, vary it.
Yeah.
So they get used
We're
to
gonna try to get
different
Winslow
people.
with you. We're gonna try to switch to Winslow for the summer.
Okay.
We'll see how he does.
Good.
We'll see. Well, thank you so much. We'll tag all
Thank
your
you.
websites,
Thank
all
you.
your social media. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for everyone for tuning in for an awesome episode of Life on the App. And oh wait, my husband.
Miss Peggy, you gotta give it to us. Don't drink my water. Say.
Don't drink my water.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a great day.
Thank you.